This chapter really served as a showcase to introduce Iceberg and Kalifa, his assistant, as well as Paulie, and just the world around them.
One Piece, Chapter 326, Mr. Iceberg.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the fantastic, time-honored, traditional tale, a lot of T's there, of One Piece. Our last chapter really, of course, saw us with, the ending of it, I guess you would say. I guess you should say, number one, Robin disappeared, or at least it seems like she did. She separated from Chopper. Kind of wondering about that. And then certainly as well, we were kind of left with this, it looks like a wooden figurine that everybody keeps mistaking for Usopp because of the big nose, but really does look like a puppet, or, it's just, again, like a Pinocchio puppet. I mean, that's what it reminds me of. Kaku, or Kaku. I don't know how to pronounce that one, but anyway, because Kaku sounds dirty, but, so Kaku, and Kaku, I don't know if that's right either, But anyway, so he was going to go, and he was, he's like this free-running, crazy dude that just went and jumped off of this thing, and mountain wind, and he's going to go take off and appraise the ship and come back. That's how the chapter left off. This one actually picks up with Sanji walking around town and going to buy some supplies, kind of daydreaming about how he wants to have a nice date in this wonderful city, this romantic city with Nami and Robin. Sanji's thinking, happy threesome action, Mr. Hopeless Romantic over there. But as he goes and after he purchases a couple of head of lettuce or cabbage or what have you, he goes and he sees Robin, and it looks to be the ruffles, the frills of that character that passed by Robin in the previous chapter and then said CP9 or I'm with CP9 or whatever. So he goes and he's like, Robin, and they're like right at the kind of the entrance to an alley, and he's, oh, Robin, it's me, and as he runs down there, he gets down there, he's like, what the hell? They're gone, right? So the shit keeps getting thicker with that one, the mystery, I guess you would say. Then we go and we kind of cut to seeing Kaku show up at the Going Merry. And as he goes and gets on and climbs on board, Zoro's kind of half asleep and sees him, and he's like, oh, it's just Usopp, right? And even, there was this part where Sanji's going, he looks up, and he's like, what the hell's wrong with this place? And this dude's jumping over from one building to another, and he's like, oh, Usopp. Somebody keeps mistaking this dude because of the big nose for Usopp. Which, anyway, I like little humorous things like that. But nonetheless, though, so he goes and he's starting to kind of appraise the ship and see what the damage is, all the mast, all of this, and then all of a sudden Zoro wakes up and is like, who the hell are you? And he's like, okay, let me introduce myself, The rest of the chapter, though, winds up taking place, and it really kind of shows us, and it serves to introduce us to the mayor of Water 7, this Mr. Iceberg. And we see him and his little hot secretary, or secretary, however you want to look at it, and her name is Kalifa. And basically he winds up, he has her do like this background check on them, and he knows within a few minutes, who they are, how many are in their crew, what their total bounty is, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, hey, listen, we just want to get, the ship fixed and everything else. We don't want no trouble or whatever. And mind you that Nami, Usopp, and Luffy, of course, have the 300 million berries on them, right, in these briefcases. So as they're getting introduced to this character, and he's really kind of an eccentric sort of goofball, he reminds me sort of like that Bruce Wayne, billionaire playboy, like I'm so rich I don't need to give a fuck. And that's kind of how he strikes me as, because his assistant's going, first of all, he says, he's like, listen, Kaku's already doing the, praising and whatnot on your ship, so we've already got that underway. And then he goes and he's talking, and Kalifa's going, and she's like, and you got this meeting here, and then you got this meeting at this hotel, and then they're going to do an interview with this newspaper, and then you got to, and he's like, I don't want to do any of that stuff. And she's like, okay, cool, I'll cancel all of it. And they're like, oh my God. And Usopp's like, you seriously got to be like, they basically make him out to be like, he's like this power-hungry type person that's in a position of power, but he's not responsible, because even Usopp points out, like, what kind of mayor are you? You're going to be like the world's crappiest mayor, mayor of this big city, and you're just blowing off all these meetings, So anyway, Kalifa goes and flips her shit and goes and throws this roundhouse kick out, and they all kind of like are dodging and moving out of the way, and she's like, you don't talk to him like that. Everybody loves him. He's a great man. And then you go and you see Iceberg, and he's like, yeah, you don't want to make Kalifa angry. When she gets angry, when she gets angry, she aims poorly or something like that, and then you see the whole side of his face swollen up from from getting kicked, So You know, I really loved, too, in the last chapter when they were talking about with Luffy after he went and he almost dropped the, or after he did drop the one bag of money, they wouldn't let him hold on to it anymore. And he's like, I'm offended, you guys won't let me hold on anymore. And they're just like, shut up, Luffy. But anyway, so we see that this guy's a quirky individual for sure, to be certain. So Usopp looks over and sees some guys fiddling around, opening up their briefcases with their 200 million berries in it. And he's like, hey, what the hell? What are you doing? And they're like, psh. And it's the Franky family, right? These frickin' ding-dongs are everywhere. So they go and take it and jump into one of those boats or whatever, the Agaras, whatever the things are, and they go to take off, you know, actually in a couple of the boats and what have you. And then we go and we see, you know, because obviously now Usopp's worried, Nami's noticing everything else, and we see the mayor over there, Mr. Iceberg, and he's just kind of like, oh, And then you see this guy Paulie come running by, and Paulie's being chased by apparently some bill collectors, because the guy must obviously owe some money. I don't know if he doesn't pay his cell phone bill or loan sharks or what. But anyway, he goes running by, and then he goes and is trying to escape those guys, jumps off this bridge, and down below him he sees the Franky family in the two boats, and he goes and he whips down these ropes and does this cool move where he like spins and wraps them up, and then goes and pulls them all together, and they're like, and they all just smack into each other. and you're thinking, oh, okay, great. And then he's like, all right, see you guys later. The bill collector guys or whatever, you know, got away from him again. So then they go and they yell down to him from, you know, up where they're at, Usopp and Nami and Luffy and what have you, and the mayor and all that. And, you know, and Usopp's, oh, great, you got our money. He's like, what? Oh, money? Oh, and he just keeps on going. And that's, you know, that's how things end up over there. And I'm thinking, what the hell? Like I said, just definitely an interesting one, to say the least. We're introduced to a few different characters. Obviously, this Mr. Iceberg being one of them, and kind of being front and center, at least in this chapter. And of course, his sexy secretary. She's actually introduced as his good-looking or gorgeous secretary, something along those lines. You know, Kalifa. And then, of course, seeing just, you know, one of these guys, this Paulie, in action. But we had seen him when they had the dust up over on Dock 1 a few chapters ago, right when everybody was pulling into Water 7 with those pirates that didn't want to pay their bill. So it's all kind of coming around and connecting together. But again, you know, I'm really, really starting to get worried and, you know, want to know what's going on with this deal with Robin. You know, hopefully it's nothing, but I don't know, man. I don't got a good feeling. But my chapter question for you, though, brothers and sisters, is, I guess, really, what are your thoughts on, you know, I mean, I kind of asked a little bit about this Franky family. I don't know much about them, but it seems like they're a bunch of people who are just running around looking to, like, be underhanded and steal from others and whatnot. At least that's the initial impression that I got. Trying to attack Zoro while he's sleeping, and then they're going to hide on the ship and take care of everybody else and whatnot. They seem like just your common criminals, you know what I mean? And then going and unattended bag or briefcase over here. Oh, it's money. I would take that too. So let me know what your thoughts are on the Franky family in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next Fun Nation. If you have any information or know the whereabouts pertaining to this beautiful young woman, please contact Jim at Jim's Nerd Nation promptly. Also, remember to follow him on his other channel, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and even Instagram.